Hey everybody, I hope you all had a good weekend. I could have probably got a video out yesterday for the weekly close, but since the monthly was going to close today, I figured I'd just go over the weekly and the monthly at the same time because this month's pretty important for a lot of charts. The thing I posted about 3 days ago, a lot of the charts looked a lot better than they do now on the monthly close, but some of them still look pretty good. So we're gonna look at that. It just didn't close on most of them the way I would have preferred, but they still look pretty good. So we'll look at that. We talked about this closing a couple weeks ago. We've passed through this trend line, right? So price action should go up. Can we come back down to retest it? Yeah, I mean we went over that before, and we have done that in some of the previous times, but a lot of the times we really don't. I think right here we came back down to retest it, right? And I think that was one of the only times here. So you could see that. 48,000 is a very strong level here, and we still haven't crossed on the MACD. Now, hopefully, we just shoot up here, but remember the hash ribbons are still blue, so that means that we should have a 45% move to the upside, which is at least 45%. And I think this moved up only 30%, right? So 45% would bring us to a new high, which would probably mean that we'd at least come up to about 100,000 before any kind of situation. So the target areas within this box, and we're going to look at, so this here is really a bull flag, right? Steven talked about this. So a bull flag, you take the flagpole, which I think the flagpole would probably start right here, and you can draw it up here, and then if I can make it more even. Let's see. I suck at doing that. Okay. So wherever this breaks out, let's say it breaks out right there. So your level would be about 115 or so. Now if we break out over here, your level would be 110 or so, right? Now, could you start a little bit lower? And bring it up there. And that'd bring about 125. So 110 to 125,000. That would line up if we did something like this to the bull market top. You could come back down, right, or we could just break up here, come back and maybe consolidate, touch this trend line, and then start to climb. Boom, we hit this box, we hit this top line and sell off really quick. Come back down, probably have a 40% move to the upside, and then fall out of this channel. And then, some kind of bear market, and then we do a new cycle to the top, to the next top. Now this box, we created this box because of the time analysis on all the cycles before. It's about 4 years, somewhere around 4 to 5 years, from the last market cycle top to the new market cycle top, and that puts us within range of spring of next year almost to Christmas time, right? It's a very large box, but in time, but I'm just not sure if we're going to top in the spring or we're going to top in December of the final year. So let's see where the price is around that point in time. Now, we've looked at this for quite a while, and it's pretty much, it's making a lot of sense now, right? It's just not, it hasn't broken its new all-time high, really, not by much. And once we broke that, we just kind of sold off. So Elliott wave looks pretty accurate here. I mean, the only other thing that could really happen is if we just completely shot up here, I would think this is going to go a lot higher before the end of the cycle top. But if we just continue to kind of go sideways here, I think that would probably be the top. Okay, that being said, let's look at the monthly. Monthly did not close a bullish engulfing candle, and it did not cross on the stochastic RSI. Nothing really on this whole chart right now. This could go up, it can go sideways, it can go down. There's nothing on a monthly chart indicator that looks really all that bullish. We are getting a lot of buy pressure here, but we've been getting buy pressure. So this level here is very protected. So is the bottom of this bull flag. So we could either spend more months within this range here, or we can go up. Now that's on BTC. Okay, so let's look at SU, for example. And this is what I would expect with a lot of the altcoins that we're in. So we drew this out. You know, those were our buy boxes. Let's go to a smaller time frame. Rebuy boxes. I think I bought some around 80 cents, maybe 60 cents or something like that. But this is this is the macro count, right? So this is wave 1, should be wave 1, and then wave 2 pullback. Now we're doing wave 3, and we're in 3 of 3. 3 of 3 is the most impulsive wave, which is showing that right here. If you look, it's more impulsive, right? So the trend line is a lot stronger than this wave 1 of 3, right? So the trajectory is more vertical rather than more sideways. Okay, and that's what you should be seeing. So that's kind of how you know, okay, so we're in wave 3 of 3. How high is this going to go? Well, actually, we'll get to that in just one second. So the monthly closed extremely strong. There wasn't a big sell-off here. I mean, this closed into new candles, so there was a very minimal, 10% sell-off right here. This should have been major resistance, but it wasn't. Okay, so this thing should continue to go up here. I mean, the next resistance level is 190, but it doesn't really look like that much. And then you've got 220, which I really think this is gonna go straight up. This might actually have a bigger candle than this one this next month. But if you look at the volume, you see the monthly volume. This monthly volume candle is twice as big as any of the other candles that we've had. So that means that there's a lot of demand for this right now. So you can see really, really large candles here. Now the next major resistance is probably going to be around $5 to $6, and then we can take a look there. But most likely we're gonna, if we break this level, we might, you could, this next month you could really hit one of these two levels. So I'm not taking profits off of this one, just because it seems like it would be more of a bad idea than a good idea, because of the fact that we're in wave 3, but we just don't know how high it's going to go. Now let's look at some of the indicators to see if there's some problems. Okay, which there is a little bit of a problem. You've got some, well, you might have bearish divergence. It hasn't really sold off or anything on the daily, but that looks okay. The 3-day, it hasn't reached its highest point yet at 81, so this still has room to go up. It is in the oversold territory, but it just got there. So for example, we were up there over here, so you still have room to go up. If you look at the weekly, the last week's candle was a little bit lower, but you could have 3 more of these candles that are actually just diverging, so price going up and then the volume declining, and then that would be a warning sign to be getting out or taking profit somewhere around here. Good thing about this is that the weekly just passed through the 0 line, or it's getting close to by next week. So I would think this month would actually be pretty good for Sioux. But again, you guys can do this on your own on some altcoins. You just see a pullback, a low volume pullback. You only count one wave. You had growing volume here, low volume pullback. So that's a token that you know that is most likely going to run. And we were talking about that for a while as well. And the weekly can stay up here for a really long time. Like, for example, this thing stayed up here for November to February, so like 4 months. So we could stay up there for till December or so. Okay, so that looks good. Let's look at SHIB. So I know we all sold our SHIB, or at least I did, right? Weekly has not crossed through the MACD yet. That should cross next week. But you do have 3 of these candles here, which is a pretty good sign. I think you would consider that 3 marching soldiers, which the next week should be bigger. Normally have like I don't really like this sell-off, but I think 3 marching soldiers, you might not have to have any wicks really, but it kind of looks like that. I've seen this pattern a lot, and then the next week is typically bigger. But this is what I'm expecting for SHIB. So that would probably just be your first wave, right? Wave 2, wave 3, something like that, 4, and then 5. Okay, this could go quite a bit higher, but this is where we got out, and then you could have bought back in, I guess, whenever you wanted to, but posted something about the breakout and then it getting ready to run. So if you purchased some, good job. I didn't buy any more, which I don't have extra cash currently. Okay, so let's look at GALA was one that closed good, or let's actually look at the monthly here. Yeah, so also the monthly closed a bullish engulfing candle. You have a hammer candle and then you have a bullish engulfing candle, which is a very strong indication that this thing's going to run. Now there was a pretty bad sell-off at resistance here, but this thing is retraced as pretty much as far as it can. So I would expect this to actually run. And then you typically get, before you have a cross, an actual confirmed cross, you probably have a pretty big move to the upside. So most likely is this, if this thing stays green, it's gonna cross this next month. Okay, so let's look at GALA. GALA also has a bullish engulfing candle. You've broken out of this pattern. You should be starting wave 3 now. Okay, even though this price has gone up 50% or whatever, for this to make it to its old high, to pass wave 1, which it should if it's in wave 3, right? It's like 300% from where it's at. So right now is still, things are still pretty cheap, right? If you're complaining about missing the bottom, right, you have the wrong mindset of how you're going to make money. So this thing could go up 2,500% before it reaches its old high. Let's actually look at Let's look at another chart real quick. This stamp. Gemini. Okay. Alright, so XLM, I guess we could look at XLM. We haven't looked at this one for a while. Did not close bullish. I mean, didn't close the bullish engulfing candle, but you have a cross, right? I mean, it's just still kind of coasting along. I mean, this is the max point it can really go down. You've got your major pattern here, which I've drawn 2 lines because of some variance in the candles. But yeah, this looks, I mean, it looks fine. It's just not really doing too much currently. So next wave should be wave 3. I don't see that really changing. I don't think this is confirmed yet, but you are starting to get across, and then you're going to repass through the 20 line. So I mean, every time that happens, this goes up. So hopefully we just get some strong monthly candles, and 3 or 4 of those big ones, and we're off to the races. XRP. I mean, you passed through the 0 line several months ago, and you're approaching the apex. You didn't have a bullish engulfing candle, but things still look okay. It would have just been nicer to have a bullish engulfing candle, but it's still looking okay. And you did cross several months ago. Several months ago. You've got a bullish engulfing candle. You've got a hammer candle here. So this thing should really, I don't really think this is going to pull back anymore. Not much. I mean, I think this is really going to break out pretty soon. We will have to move these whenever we actually do break out. But we'll get to that once that actually does happen. Alright, let's take a look at ICP. ICP USD. So I said anything under $10 is good for ICP. You do have declining volume, though it's not near as tight as like SU is. But I mean, this tells a story, right? So you have bigger buy volume than you've ever had. You had the pullback, so now you should be moving into wave 3. You do have a bullish engulfing candle on the monthly, which is really good. You have a break out of this trend line, and the month before there was a whole bunch of buying pressure, so this looks really, really good for the monthly. I think you did cross as well, or this will either that or it's going to cross next month, but you also have bullish divergence on a monthly, which is extremely powerful. Okay, so price is going up while the indicator is diverging. Makes me think that this is going to move into wave 3. So remember that the bottom here to the top here was 650%. So from the bottom here should be 650% or higher, which brings this to about $50, $45 to $50. Wave 3 could stop there, and it could go higher. So I mean, I am thinking at the end of the bull market that this is probably going to reach very close to $100. If it broke that, it would go to about 200. Now I want to look at the market cap for, let me see, coin market. cap. So let's look at the market cap for ICP. Fear and Greed Index is neutral right now. Market cap is $4 billion. $4.2 billion. So if it was to 10x from here, that's only a $40 billion market cap. That's nothing for the, I mean, I guess that's substantial, but it's still, for this market and for a currency like this, protocol currency, it's pretty low. I mean, you can see $200 billion in something like this. I think Ethereum went to 600 or 800 billion. So this is still pretty low, and the chance this could run higher. So keep that in mind. Making a 20x on your token if it goes to $100, I think it's better than to kind of keep that in your mind rather than hoping for $200 or $500 or whatever, which, you know, something like that could happen. But yeah, so let's look at the weekly on this one too. Yeah, weekly did confirm across, and then you've broken out here. Volume's not super great yet, but that kind of looks like it could grow. Okay, and then what else do we want to look at? You know, again, theta is broken out too. It's broken out of its pattern here. It does have a bullish engulfing candle too, so I'm sure T-Fuel has that as well, and we'll take a look at that, I guess. Weekly might cross next week. Probably just retesting this level of support, maybe. Maybe where it's at right now, it's just retesting it. But the monthly looks pretty good here. You've got really low declining volume, and then a hammer, and then a bullish engulfing, so confirms the bullishness of this previous monthly candle, so this should run up as well. And let's look at T-Fuel, just see if it's doing the same thing, which I'm pretty sure it is. Yeah, same thing on T-Fuel, nothing new there. T-Drop has a cross on the monthly, which is great. It should just follow the rest of them, I would think. I'm looking at some other ones on my phone here. And I think that pretty much covers everything. Litecoin really didn't. Oh, there's a couple more I want to look at. So Litecoin. I mean, Litecoin still looks pretty lame, to be quite honest. You do have a little bit of divergence here. You've got a hammer, and then I'd say this is a indecision candle. So, I mean, if everything else runs up, I think this would probably run up this month as well. You know, hopefully Litecoin just makes some big big green candles like this over here over the next 4 months. And Litecoin is just very well known, so I think once people hear about crypto, they'll think Litecoin's still pretty low and then buy that one, as well as Doge. Doge didn't close a bullish engulfing either, but I do expect that one to run as well. SHIB's probably just kind of taking the lead because it's less known, I suppose. Okay, so let's look at the BTC dominance chart. Yeah, so you closed a bearish doji here at like major resistance, so most likely I would expect this to really start trending down. So if this happens, Bitcoin could run sideways while the alts go up, and maybe this thing comes all the way back down to here. It could even come back down to here before, finally breaking out. But that's a very bearish candle right there, especially because it closed back below this major trend line. So that's a good thing for altcoins. Bitcoin could stay in that bull flag till the end of the bull flag while the alts run. That's kind of what I've been expecting. I just thought it was going to happen quite a while ago. Let's look at the weekly here too. Yeah, you've got a cross on the weekly. You've got some bearish divergence over here too. Yeah, so this really should just sell off here. You've broken out of this wedge also. So that's a good sign. Alright guys, that's all I've got to cover for today. I know it was a lot. There was a lot to cover. I'll do another video in a couple days and we'll take a look at the market. Hopefully things start really taking off here pretty soon. So I will talk to y'all on Wednesday, and you have a good week.